Do you ever wonder when kindness stops being a gift and starts becoming a burden? Even if you were taught to be generous to everyone, there comes a point in life when your time, your energy, and your peace are too valuable to give away freely. As we grow older, we begin to see that not all kindness is appreciated or deserved. Some people feed on your patience, your silence, and your willingness to help. The longer you allow it, the more it drains you. In this video, we're going to uncover 5 types of people you should stop being overly kind to as you age. These aren't strangers you meet once in a while. They're often the people closest to you, family members, neighbors, and even longtime friends. Their subtle patterns of behavior can quietly sap your energy, leaving you exhausted and frustrated without even realizing it. By the end of this video, you'll recognize exactly who to be cautious around, understand why their presence can be so draining, and learn practical ways to safeguard your emotional well-being without guilt, excuses, or over-apologizing. Your later years aren't about repairing others. They're about protecting the peace and clarity you've earned. Let's dive in and explore the people who might be quietly taking more than they give and how to reclaim your calm. If this message resonates with you, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below sharing one person you've learned to protect your peace from. Your story might just help someone else recognize the same patterns in their life. Number 1. The endless taker. Imagine sitting alone in your cozy living room, sipping coffee as soft sunlight filters through the curtains. You start thinking about the people in your life, the ones you've helped, the sacrifices you've made, the endless favors you've granted without hesitation. You remember the late nights you spent comforting a friend, the weekends you gave up to help someone move, the money you loaned without ever asking for it back. But then it hits you. When was the last time any of those people showed up for you? One of the clearest signs that someone doesn't deserve your kindness anymore is when they treat your generosity as an unlimited resource. You know the type. They only reach out when they need something: money, time, advice, or effort. Their calls rarely begin with "How are you?" but instead with "I need a favor." Their visits aren't about connection or care, they're about convenience. And when you look closely, the relationship feels one-sided. You give, they take, and the cycle never changes. Take the story of Linda Thompson, a 72-year-old retired nurse from Ohio. For decades, Linda was the family's rock. When her younger brother lost his job, she helped him pay his rent. When her niece needed tuition money, Linda was the first to contribute. Whenever anyone in the family faced a crisis, Linda was there, offering her time, her home, and even her modest savings. But when Linda was diagnosed with early-stage cancer, things changed. She spent weeks going through treatment alone. No phone calls, no visits, not even a simple "How are you feeling?" message from the very people she had supported for years. Sitting in the hospital waiting room one day, Linda realized something painful. Her kindness had become an expectation, not a gift. This realization is never easy, especially when it involves family or lifelong friends. We're taught from an early age that saying no is selfish, that being needed means being loved, and that good people always give without question. But here's the truth. If someone only acknowledges you when you're useful, they don't value you, they value what you provide. To them, you're not a person. You're a resource, a service, a safety net they believe will never tear. And as you grow older, this dynamic becomes even more dangerous. Your energy, your time, and your resources aren't infinite anymore. Every moment, every dollar, every ounce of strength counts. Giving endlessly to people who only drain you is like pouring water into a cracked jar. You'll exhaust yourself long before they ever feel full. You have the right to protect your peace. You have the right to set boundaries, to say no without guilt, and to reserve your energy for people who truly care. Those who love you will respect your limits. Those who leave when you stop giving were never there for you in the first place. They were there for what they could take. That's not love. That's dependency disguised as connection. Kindness should be a source of joy, not a chain of obligation. Generosity should leave you fulfilled, not empty. As the years pass, choose relationships where love flows both ways, where your efforts are acknowledged, and where your presence, not just your help, is valued. Anything less is emotional theft. And here's the hard truth. You teach people how to treat you. If you continue to tolerate one-sided relationships, they will continue to take without thought or gratitude. But when you finally choose yourself, you make space for deeper, healthier connections, the ones where you're seen, valued, and cherished for who you are, not for what you can give. Because at this stage of life, peace isn't just important, it's essential. And sometimes, the greatest act of self-love is refusing to be someone's endless source of taking. Take a moment today to evaluate the relationships around you. Who genuinely values you, and who only values your usefulness? Begin setting boundaries. Start small if you have to. Say no when you need to, without explaining or apologizing. Surround yourself with people who pour back into your life, who bring you laughter and comfort, who make you feel loved simply for being you. Life is too precious to waste on endless takers. Protect your heart. Protect your peace. Choose you. Number 2, the chronic critic. Imagine walking into a room, smiling, and feeling good about yourself, only to have that smile fade the moment a certain person opens their mouth. They never raise their voice or use harsh words, but somehow their comments cut deeper than any shout could. It's not one big insult, but a steady stream of subtle jabs about your choices, appearance, or past. Over time, it becomes exhausting. You start anticipating the sting before they even speak. Ask yourself this: how do you feel after spending time with certain people? Do you leave conversations feeling lighter, supported, and seen, or do you walk away questioning your worth? Do you find yourself rehearsing what to say so you don't trigger another remark? Do you second-guess your clothes, your decisions, your happiness just to avoid criticism? If your answer is yes, it's not just harmless teasing, it's emotional erosion. Take Eleanor Davis, a 79-year-old retired librarian from Florida. For years, she visited her younger sister every Friday, bringing homemade cookies and stories to share. But every visit came with criticism disguised as care. Your hair's too short. Why would you buy that car? It's too flashy for your age. You're always so sensitive. At first, Eleanor brushed it off, convincing herself it was harmless. But as time passed, she noticed something troubling. She started doubting herself more, second-guessing simple decisions, even feeling anxious on the drive over. What once brought her joy became an emotional weight she dreaded carrying. That's the danger of chronic criticism. It's not about the words themselves, it's about what they silently steal from you: your confidence, your self-trust, and your inner peace. These critics hide behind masks of concern. They'll claim they're just being honest or helping you improve, but their intention isn't your growth, it's control. One seemingly harmless comment at a time, they chip away at your sense of worth until you question everything about yourself. And when you let it continue unchecked, something inside you begins to shrink. You stop sharing your dreams, hesitate to try new things, and brace yourself before every conversation, wondering what they'll pick apart next. It's like walking barefoot on glass. You're so focused on avoiding pain that you forget how it feels to move freely. But here's what you need to remember: you've earned the right to feel safe in your own skin. You don't need anyone's approval to exist exactly as you are. You don't owe explanations for what makes you happy or why you choose to live the way you do. If someone consistently leaves you feeling small, inadequate, or broken, you owe it to yourself to step back and reclaim your peace. Being kind does not mean accepting disguised cruelty. It doesn't make you heartless to create distance. In fact, sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them is to draw a clear boundary and say, "I won't allow your voice to rewrite my story anymore." And here's the truth most people forget: boundaries are not walls, they're gates. You decide who has earned the privilege of access to your heart, your time, and your energy. The ones who truly value you will respect those gates. The ones who don't were never there to love you. They were there to control you. Pause today and take stock of your relationships. Who makes you feel seen, valued, and uplifted, and who slowly chips away at your confidence? Stop granting unlimited access to the critics who drain your joy. Protect your heart, your energy, and your story. You deserve relationships that celebrate you, not diminish you. Life's too short to live under someone else's voice. Take your power back. Number 3, the guilt trap. Some people don't yell, argue, or raise their voices they don't need to. Instead, they wield silence, sighs, and carefully chosen words like weapons. With just a look or a pause, they twist the narrative until you're questioning whether you've done enough, whether you've failed them somehow. But ask yourself, why does their comfort always come at the expense of yours? Why is protecting their happiness tied to sacrificing your own peace? And why do you feel guilty for simply saying no? These are the questions guilt trippers never want you to confront, because once you do, their power begins to fade. Consider James, a 74-year-old retired teacher from Michigan who spent decades volunteering in his community. He always lent a hand, gave rides to friends, and supported local charities. But when he needed help with a minor home repair, his neighbors subtly remarked, "I thought someone like you would manage on your own." Later, when he politely declined to attend a week-long volunteer project to rest, the same neighbor muttered, "I guess you're too tired to care anymore." Those words stuck with James, making him feel guilty for prioritizing his own health and comfort, even though he had spent a lifetime giving without complaint. This is what makes guilt trippers so exhausting. They weaponize your generosity, your patience, and your sense of responsibility. Over time, you find yourself over-explaining, apologizing for choices that are right for you, and giving far more than you want just to avoid their cold, disappointed stares or passive-aggressive remarks. Here's the truth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. Love that demands you bend over backward isn't love, it's manipulation. And you are not responsible for carrying the emotional weight of others at the expense of your own well-being. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to take time for yourself. You are allowed to protect your energy without guilt or justification. The next time someone tries to make you feel small for setting limits, take it as a sign not to comply, but to step even further back. Your peace is not negotiable. Remember, boundaries are acts of self-respect. Every no you utter is a shield around your emotional well-being, preserving space for people and activities that genuinely uplift you. And finally, guilt trippers can only manipulate you as much as you allow. Their words carry weight only when you hand it to them. Protect your space, honor your needs, and refuse to bear burdens that don't belong to you. True freedom comes when you refuse to let someone else dictate your feelings or actions. Comment number 3, if this resonated, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Number 4, the hidden rival. Not every challenge comes from an obvious source. Some people wear warmth like armor, smile genuinely, and even offer compliments. But behind that mask, there's a quiet tension, a subtle drive to outshine you, to measure your successes against theirs. These are the hidden rivals, people who thrive only when they feel superior, who celebrate themselves by dimming your light. You can often spot them in how you feel after spending time together. Subtly diminished, hesitant to share your achievements, or second-guessing your choices. Their presence leaves a quiet unease, a feeling that your victories are never quite enough, and that your joy is somehow measured against theirs. Take Martha, 78, a retired school teacher from California, who decided to take up photography after decades of focusing on family. She was excited to finally explore her creativity. Her old friend Linda joined the same photography club, promising to support her journey. But subtle remarks soon crept in. "Oh, that's a nice shot, very simple, but I guess simplicity is an art." Or, "Interesting perspective, reminds me of my own work last month." At first, Martha laughed it off. Over time, however, she noticed she was second-guessing her choices, hesitating to share her best work, and quietly comparing herself to Linda's every success. What was meant to be a joyful hobby became a minefield of silent judgment. Hidden rivals rarely attack openly. They manipulate comparison, flaunting accomplishments just enough to make you question your own progress. They have a way of always having the better story, the more impressive achievement, or the more memorable experience. Around them, you don't feel fully celebrated, you feel tolerated, measured, or minimized. The effect is subtle, but potent. Your confidence shrinks, your joy is muted, and you start dimming your own light so their shadow feels larger. You stop sharing freely, stop celebrating openly, and even question whether your passions are worth pursuing. But here's the truth. Life isn't a contest. Especially as we age, the stakes are no longer about winning someone else's approval, they're about honoring your own journey. You've built your life, your skills, and your resilience. You've survived enough to know your worth isn't tied to anyone else's spotlight. If someone consistently measures your success against theirs or celebrates only when they appear superior, distance yourself. Your circle should feel like a safe harbor, not a leaderboard. Surround yourself with people who ignite warmth, encouragement, and inspiration, not subtle rivalry. True friends don't compete with your joy. They amplify it. They lift you, support your growth, and celebrate your accomplishments with genuine pride. And as the years pass, that kind of unconditional support becomes invaluable, far more precious than any win anyone else could claim over you. Remember, your achievements, your passions, and your growth are yours alone. Do not shrink to fit someone else's insecurities. Protect your light, cultivate your joy, and spend time with those who cheer you on authentically. Life is too short for shadows. If this resonates with you, subscribe now to stay updated with more insights on building healthy relationships, protecting your peace, and thriving in life's later chapters. Number 5. The subtle underminer. Not every manipulator shouts or confronts directly. Some use quiet tactics, snide remarks, backhanded compliments, or prolonged silences that leave you doubting yourself. These subtle underminers are especially tricky in later life because their behavior can slip under the radar while steadily draining your peace of mind. Consider Evelyn, 76, who volunteers at her local community center. She enjoys helping organize events and supporting younger volunteers. One day, she asks Ben, a fellow volunteer, if he can assist with setting up chairs for a large gathering. Ben smiles warmly and replies, "Oh, I'd help, but I wouldn't want you to feel like you're being bossy, or I'm sure someone younger can handle it better." He doesn't refuse outright, he masks dismissal as concern. Evelyn is left unsure whether she's being criticized, gently teased, or simply ignored. These types of people play a quiet game of shifting responsibility. They may ignore requests, cancel commitments with vague excuses, or claim their words were misinterpreted. If confronted, they skillfully make you appear oversensitive or difficult. Over time, this pattern wears you down. You start shrinking your own expectations, tiptoeing around interactions, and rationalizing that it's not worth the argument. Yet staying in that dynamic slowly teaches you to silence your own needs for the sake of a false peace. At this stage in life, genuine peace isn't optional, it's vital. Anyone who consistently undermines or manipulates should not occupy your inner circle. You don't have to respond to every sly comment or explain every feeling. Instead, set boundaries, step back, and reclaim the calm they try to disturb. A polite smile that conceals subtle contempt is nothing more than a mask. You've lived long enough to recognize inauthenticity and refuse it. Fill your days with people who speak honestly, act kindly, and respect your boundaries. Anything less is unnecessary noise. Notice these patterns early and prioritize your serenity over the pretense of social niceties. Your energy and joy are worth protecting. Your later years should be enriched with clarity, meaningful relationships, and peace of mind. Let go of those who drain you with invisible games and focus on the company of those who truly care. Comment number 5, if this resonates. Now that you've explored these 5 personality types, take a moment to pause and reflect. Are any of them lingering too close in your life? Are you spending your energy, your patience, or your time on people who only drain, undermine, or twist your goodwill into obligations? As we age, our peace becomes more precious than ever. You've carried burdens for others, forgiven more than you needed to, and stayed silent to keep the peace. But those days don't have to define you anymore. This season of life isn't about tolerating toxicity, it's about clearing space for authenticity. You have every right to protect your boundaries and decide who enters your world or heart, your time, your home, and even your messages. Being kind doesn't mean sacrificing your well-being. It doesn't mean prioritizing others' comfort at the expense of your sanity. True kindness is measured with boundaries, empathy paired with discernment, and generosity balanced with self-respect. Walking away from someone who has been part of your life for years is not betrayal, it's self-preservation. Sometimes the most powerful act of care is the one you give yourself. The courage to say enough is enough. If today's message resonates, take it to heart. Reflect on it, journal it, and make a conscious choice to stop giving pieces of yourself to those who never return them. Your later years are meant for more than just getting by. They're meant for healing, growth, and surrounding yourself with people who truly see and honor you. Letting go of those who never did is the first step toward that life. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share one insight from today and how you plan to apply it in your life. Your reflections inspire others and help create a supportive community. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share. Your engagement helps us continue producing content that uplifts, informs, and empowers. Thank you for watching, and we can't wait to connect with you in the next video.